Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we are back out here in the garage, and it feels like it is 10 o'clock at night, but right now it is really only 6:07 as I'm filming this because we just adjusted the clocks back. I have no idea why we do the daylight savings time stuff. I hate it. Anyway, I think we should adjust our clocks by 30 minutes whenever the next switch happens, instead of the hour, and then just leave it. Let's just cut the difference in half so we don't have to do this whole shifting back and forth thing. It is so weird. And the thing about wintertime that drives me nuts, and honestly makes me a little bit depressed, is that it gets dark so early. I absolutely hate it. The closer we get towards Christmas, which I know is a time of celebration for everybody. Everyone loves that time of year. For me, it's depressing. I mean, when the sun starts to go down at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and all the trees here in Texas are dead, all the vegetation is dead, everything's brown, man, is it depressing for me. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to discuss a number of things. Number one, we have an upcoming projects video. So I have a few new things here on the workbench. And I also want to talk about the future of my old channel. But I know most of you guys are here to watch the gun content. So that's where we're going to start. Now, I got to spend some time at the range this afternoon. In fact, I had to go back to the range to film some content tonight because there were just way too many people there for me to film the content for my reviews. But I went to the range with a good friend, and he is somebody that I have met through my wife and I's journey through luxury watches. Now, I know I don't have anything expensive on today. This is my G-Shock Gravity Master, which is what I use for the range. And yes, once again, you can hear my dogs. They get into like every single one of the, not range report videos, but my garage videos, man. I don't know if they hear me talking or they just hear noises and they have to bark. So sorry, you got to put up with that. Yeah, but I'm wearing my G-Shock Gravity Master. And this is the one I always take to the range. I'm not going to wear one of my expensive ones. But anyway, somebody that I've met through my journey through watches, his name is Mitchell. And I had no idea when I first met him he was into guns. And normally when you meet somebody, and he's a younger guy, that are into guns, they might, have a Glock, a CZ, or might be into the more modern stuff. No, not him. Because what I'm going to show you today that he lent to the channel for review is pretty awesome. And not only did he lend them to the channel, because one of these things is an NFA item, he was so nice, just like many of the other people that lend things to the channel. They filled out the paperwork and did all the trust stuff and all that kind of thing so I can borrow it. It's humbling and amazing that I have such amazing friends and amazing fans and subscribers that, as I said, not only lend things for me to create content with, and I return the favor by really detail cleaning their guns and getting to showcase their guns on my channel, which I think a lot of people like, but also they entrust me with them. And I know how I feel about my own personal firearms, so it means a lot that people would do this for me to help my channel grow. But let's go over what we got here. The first one is a pistol I'm 100% sure I have never reviewed, and it's one I've always been interested in. And we're talking classic Colt here. Classic Colt. Check this guy out. Here we go. A Colt M1903 chambered in 32 ACP. This particular example was manufactured in 1912. And it's in great shape. We have some wear on the bluing in the back, but we don't really seem to have any rust. All the markings on it look fantastic. And even on the side, over here, it still has the caliber 32 rimless smokeless. So it was manufactured during that time when we were transitioning from, black powder to smokeless powder. Colt automatic, it has the patent dates on it, 1903. Yeah, this thing is awesome. And I need to look up the generations of these things because Mitchell told me this is either a second or a third generation. So I guess by 1912, they had already changed a few things about the design. And when we were at the range and I met him and I were both shooting this, so I haven't filmed any content with it, but let me tell you, this thing is crazy accurate. Like, I shot it great. blown away by it. Blown away by it. Soft recoiling, a lot of fun. He's never resprung it, and it had solid ejections. I was so impressed by it. So impressed by it. It's like a mini 1911 in some ways. You do have the grip safety in the back. Very short trigger, very short reset. Does not have a last round bolt hold open. And it also comes apart a little bit different than a standard 1911. So we'll probably do a field strip video on this. But the M1903 from Colt in 32 ACP. Classic. Classic. Yeah. I think he lent me 3 magazines with this. It even gave me a box of 32. And I think I might have a box as well. So I might have enough, maybe, to do the review. Maybe I have 1 or 2 or 1.5. I'll have to go back and check my ammo safe. But yeah, Colt M1903. All right, now the other one. Oh boy, I think you know where this one's going. You can already see it on the box. Now, I have an Uzi Model B. And I've always been curious about the other model that they released before the Model B, which I think was in fewer numbers, the Model A. And that's what we have here. Now, his collection of guns, which obviously are older guns, he likes the more historical stuff. Now, I don't have I'll say the complete package right now, but he says I can borrow it in the future once I'm done with this. This one's in 9mm, like all Uzis should be, but he also has the 45 caliber conversion for it. That's pretty darn awesome as well. So I'll be bugging him about that because I don't see a lot of content on the 45 caliber conversion kits and the reviews of the guns within a minute. Now, this is a gun that has been SBR'd, but also, since it was originally sold, I think the Model A's, I think were sold in, now don't quote me on this, I have to go do my research, 82 to 84, I think? They were the early ones, and they changed it. A lot of people think that the reason they changed the design from the Model A to the Model B is that the Model A's were too easy to convert to full auto, and that is not true. The main difference was a firing pin safety to make sure the gun could not fire out of battery. They also changed the front sight. I know that. So there were a couple of small internal components that were changed on the bolt and in the receiver, and it was for an out-of-battery safety kind of thing. And then they changed the sight. And I think the Model B has the more authentic Uzi sights. But this is the Model A. We have the original case. It even says Action Arms on the side, which was the importer of it. And because it was originally sold as a rifle, now I gotta also look this up because I know that these things, or at least the Model B that I have, which I also SBR'd, it came with kind of a pencil barrel for 16 inches. And then once I SBR'd it, I went down to the proper 10.5, but mine has a threaded barrel. This one has an interesting thing with it. So here's the 16-inch barrel. It has this little heat shield around it and this vertical foregrip on it. So it has the same type of stock that we all know and love. And it just runs, it looks very similar to the Model B. The finish on it might be a little bit darker. This looks a little bit more black, where I think mine is more gray. And I'll once again have to do some research on that. I have seen these kits with the barrel with this heat shield and things. It kind of gives it a more tacti-cool look. It doesn't really affect the performance of the gun at all. I believe some of them were factory, I think. But that's what I got to find out. As I said, my experience with my Model B is it just had a pencil barrel, but none of this stuff on it. So I'll have to see if this is actually factory original. The lower is just semi-automatic. It says F and S, standard magazines. I'm trying to think of what else is different. Yeah, I'll have to do a video on the difference on the sights and probably the internals of it. I'll probably do a field strip of it as well and show the differences. But the thing about the Uzi that I love is how simplistic it is. So if you want to change the barrel out, all you got to do is unscrew the barrel nut. And once it comes off a certain length, you can pull the whole barrel out. And because this is SBR'd, you can drop in the barrel. And it's weird that because the barrel doesn't change anything about the functionality of the gun, a semi-automatic barrel has like a half moon cut out, like right here. You can see where it's not, that ring that goes around it doesn't go all the way around, and it corresponds to a ledge up here. The full auto barrels are just a ring. It doesn't change anything, but that's something that they did for some odd reason. So we got the barrel nut on this one. And I also promised him that I was going to, clean this thing up as well. Hold on one second. I put that in backwards. Oh my gosh. I am an idiot. It's one of these telescoping barrels. Hold on. Here we go. There we go. Yes, I know you guys were all laughing at me. Man, I'm trying to talk to you. I'm doing like 5 things at once. All right. There we go. That's what it's supposed to be. There it is. So that is the 10 or 10.5 inch barrel in this. And we shot this as well. And this thing is freaking accurate and so much fun. I know it's an antiquated, in full auto, it's a submachine gun, but as a PCC, it's antiquated. It's not as ergonomic. It's not as, it's not as fast as the current ones we have. But man, is this thing fun. The only issue I really had was with this stock. It kind of pinched me here on the cheek a little bit, so I'll have to talk about that. But there you go. The Uzi Model A, and I'll compare it with my Uzi Model B. So this is going to go into the queue for reviews, and I promised him, because, he is a friend that is lending a gun to the channel for the first time. I am moving these up to the front of the pack. So I have 2 things I need to review tonight. I'm going to work on those reviews this week, but these are going to be on the next range trip. So I'll be working hard and diligent on those. So there you go. The Colt Model M1903 and the Uzi Model A. So there you go. With kind of the complete package with the case. My Model B has the hard shell case, not the soft one. And this is, I know, the more desirable one. So it's really cool to get to see it. And I think he let me borrow a few magazines as well. So it's always good to have more mags. All right, so there's the upcoming project. So tell me if you know anything about these guns or anything about them I should take into consideration when I review them. All right, cool. All right, let's talk about my old channel. Okay, so what I have done, as you guys saw in my last video, and this might not affect a lot of people, or a lot of people won't care. My old channel, I have complete access to. And it's really awesome to get to see all of those old videos. And I've been doing a little bit of research on possibly why I got my channel back. And it appears that in the recent past, executives from Google were up on Capitol Hill, and they were getting grilled about free speech issues, and how when it came to channels that were being banned, especially during the transition from the Trump administration to the Biden administration, there was political bias. And I guess they were like kind of raked over the coals. And they said that they would do a thorough review and go over every channel that was banned and decide, did it really meet the requirements or the standards to be banned? And I knew my original channel did not. I mean, I never did and do not sell guns. I'm not an FFL. I'm a collector, and I demonstrate firearms. That's what I do. And I think they said something else. And I was like, but I never did any of that. But they said I did. And of course, you were dealing with, people that are ignorant of guns. And at that time, anything pro-Second Amendment, anything pro-conservative was being banned. So I got banned. And just started up my next channel, and they had no problem with the content that I re-uploaded. So in order for me to not interfere with my new channel, which is, and by the way, all the links are going to be in the description below if you're not subscribed to my main channel. It doesn't have as many subscribers as I ended up on my old channel. However, it's much better organized, and I'm much more happy with the way it is kind of set out. It's more professional. I like the flow of it. And I like how it only sticks to firearms and product reviews, where I do most of my commentary stuff here, my more casual stuff where I can, talk about guns I'm taking to the range or whatever. And so it allows people that like different styles to follow me in different ways. So what am I going to do with my main channel? Well, I have privated all of my videos on that channel with the exception of the video saying I'm back. I have deleted all of the old posts, and I've deleted all of the playlists. So essentially, I've kind of wiped the slate clean over there. But all the videos are still there. They're just private. Only I can see them. And I don't want to release any videos that were previously out there because a lot of them are irrelevant, meaning they're old, 13 years old, going all the way back to the beginning of the channel. A lot of them were topical, like news stuff, so it's irrelevant to see them today. And all of my later stuff, before I got banned, has already been re-uploaded to my main channel. So you can already see a lot of that stuff. So if you go back to the early part of my new channel, you can see going back like a year or 2 years on my old channel, essentially. So there's no need to have multiple of the same video up and have to deal with no one knowing where to go. So I was thinking, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to try to get as many of my old subscribers to subscribe to my new channel. But functionally, what should I do with that channel? And I have made a decision. Now, I don't know how often I can do it or when I'm going to do it or how I'm going to organize it, but I think I'm going to make that channel the channel for live streams. I know people have been asking me to do live streams again. They loved them. And so I think that would be really good to have my main channel, The Texas Gun Vault. It's important to put "the" in there. My main channel for guns, gun reviews, product reviews, and so forth. This is the Texas Gun Vault 2. So this is going to be my video stuff where I do commentary, first impressions, upcoming projects, what's on my mind, just casual stuff with you guys. And then on my main channel, I am going to do live streams. And as I said, I don't know how often I'll do one, and I'm going to reserve it just for that because that allows people to subscribe to different channels for different things, interact with me in different ways. But also, if YouTube starts to go after people for one thing or another, I have all these different options and things where I can still reach a lot of people. So that's what I'm going to do. So are we going to do a live stream tonight? No. Okay. I'm going to set things up. I might try to do a test live stream this upcoming week. I might do it from my phone. I might do it from my computer, and we're just going to see what happens. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make a video right after I film this or get done with this and post that on my main channel. Or I say, not my main channel, my old channel. So I need to go back and start putting my old channel in the description of all my videos. I have to redo all of my descriptions now to add that. So anyway, that's what we're going to do going forward. And if you guys have any other ideas, let me know what I should do with the old channel. Because I do have a built-in subscriber base. And I think I would like to do live streams again over there and kind of focus on that. Or maybe make that my channel where I do like, I don't know, I don't want to say comedy or like backup, kind of funny stuff, like meme stuff. I don't know. But I think live streams is definitely where I'm going to go. So anyway, tell me your thoughts on that. If you have any other ideas for my main channel, let me know. And I guess that's it for tonight. So if you watched to the end of this video, which is 19 minutes long, I think I'm going to have a surprise for you. So since I have access to my old channel, I am going to see if this video is super long, it's coming up. I think I can download my old videos and I will attach it to this one. And in celebration of me getting my old channel back, I am going to upload or tag on to this video at the very end. I'll let you know when. The very first video I ever made. It was rock out with your Glock out. And it was like the first 4 generations of Glock. And it was made like 14 years ago. 14 years ago. And I did it in my apartment living room with my old camera phone. So the quality is terrible. and I had no idea what I was doing. It was my first video. I think in total, while my old channel was up, it had like 400 views. So I also think it was in two parts. I think it was a part one and a part two because I think the camera phone I had at the time could only do 10 minutes at a time. So I think it's a two-parter. So I'll try to see if I can combine all that. So that was my first video. So if you want to go old school, and I might even upload some of the other ones where you see my face. Oh my God, I was so young. Oh my God, have I changed? Oh my God, have I changed? I can't believe it. Watching those things, I realize I've gotten old. But it's great to see him again. Oh my God, it's great to see him again. So I will try to download those, attach them to this video, and you guys can watch and see my original video. But if you watch to the end of this part, the word of the day, if you want to participate in that, is Uzi. Uzi is the word of the day because we have one really awesome Uzi here on the table for me to review and make content with, and I'm really, really excited. Never gotten to see a Model A in person, and I get to see the difference between the Model A and the Model B. So there you go. So if you want to watch my very first video, stay tuned, and you guys can cringe and laugh at me. But if you want to click away now, I completely understand. So thanks for joining me here in the garage, and as always, thanks for watching.
Hi everybody, and welcome to my first video of my new YouTube channel dedicated to firearms collecting, history, and information. As you can tell from my name, I'm a collector of Colt firearms. However, for my first video, I wanted to do something that I have not seen on YouTube yet, which is a video which shows all four generations of Glock frames in one shot. There's a couple of gentlemen out there that have generations 2, 3, and 4, and one that I saw that had generations 1, 2, and 3. So this is going to be the first one that has all four. So let's get started. Alright, so let's get started here. Can you tell which Glock is not like the others? Well, it's right here. This is a Generation 1 Glock 17. And the reason you can tell it's different than all the rest is that the serial number insert into the frame is black. All of the rest of these guns have a stainless steel insert, which is very visible. This one is black and kind of blends into the frame. The Generation 1 Glocks have a pebbled texture which goes around the entire grip. There is no front or back checkering to it. The extractor is flat, so it is not a loaded chamber indicator like you see on the later generations, I believe starting in Generation 3. The recoil spring is non-captive, which I don't know if you can really see here in this video, but the spring is loose. It's just like a SIG in a way. So it just has a guide rod, and the spring is not captive. So when you take it out, it's two separate parts, which is, from what I understand, all Generation 1s came that way. What's also interesting are the proof marks on this gun. There are two Austrian proof marks. One is a little tiny eagle. Don't know if I can get that into the shot there. And the other is a proof mark which indicates that the gun was test fired with a 9mm round loaded to pressures 30% more than the standard 9mm. So I believe that had to do something with Austrian export laws or gun manufacturer laws. So it just shows that it was test fired at the factory with that cartridge. And you find this on the barrel, the frame, and the slide. So all of the proof marks are there. So this is a Generation 1. It's pretty rare now, I think, because most of them went to law enforcement agencies. So they've either rode hard and put up wet, lost, or destroyed. They only imported these for 2 years, I believe. 86, well, maybe 3. 86, 87, and 88. before they changed the frame to the Generation 2. So here it is, a video of a Glock 17 Generation 1. Oh, it should also be noted, I see it right here, is these early Glocks also have one frame pin, which on modern Glocks we have two, and that had to do with the more powerful cartridges like the 40 Smith & Wesson and 45 ACP. There was some kind of frame failures with the single pin, but this is being a Generation 1, only has the single pin. So there it is. Generation 1 Glock. Alright, so let's move on to Generation 2. Here we have a Generation 2 Glock 17. A couple of things that are similar is it still has the non-loaded chamber indicator extractor and the single pin through the frame. This particular Glock 17 has an adjustable sight on it, which, as you can see, is a little bit different than the adjustable sights that we see on modern Glocks. They're a little bit longer. I don't know if there's any advantage to that. I'm sure it gives a couple of centimeters to the sight picture, but I don't know if that really adds any accuracy to the firearm. The main difference between the Generation 1 and the Generation 2 frames is the fact that we now have a checkered back strap and a checkered front strap. So it's supposed to give the user a little bit more aggressive feeling and control of the gun, which I have to admit the Generation 1 can feel a little slippery at times, especially if you've been shooting a while and your hands are a little sweaty. So this is just a Generation 2. This was what's also interesting about this gun, and after I picked it up from a local gentleman, I took out the magazine and noticed that it's marked restricted law enforcement and government only. I don't know if I can get that into the shot here. And it has a date of manufacture, because this is a 17-round magazine, and this was a magazine that was made during the assault weapons ban of the 1990s. So this was a magazine that was not allowed for civilian use, of course, until the law sunset in, I believe, 2004. So that's just kind of a little piece of history right there. I've never seen another magazine like it. So it's just a standard Glock 17 magazine that was just produced during that time period. And there it is, Generation 2. So this brings us to the third generation Glocks, which I believe is the most prolific Glock because of their production numbers. They've been making this for well over a decade. The third generation Glocks have the introduction of the second pin through the frame, holding in the trigger mechanism and the slide stop release. The main difference between the second and third generations is the introduction of the finger grooves. As you can see here, the front and back straps are still checkered, just like the Generation 2. But we had the finger grooves, which I believe were introduced on the Glock 27 and 26 first. Another thing that's different is that it has a dimple right here on both sides of the gun, and that I believe is really for the placement of the thumb, where the second generation lacks that. Another advancement in the third generation we have is the loaded chamber indicator. When a round is in the chamber, this little edge of the extractor sticks out, letting you know that it is loaded and ready to go. The third generation also has the integrated rail, which I should have mentioned when I showed you the Gen 1 and Gen 2, which is of course right here. As you can see, it does not have a rail on it for putting lights or lasers or whatever toys you want to add. The Generation 3 does have that. I believe this is the gun that most of you guys should be familiar with. That's it. Generation 3. And now, last but not least, the Glock Generation 4. Now this one I think has the biggest difference between all of the frames that we've seen so far. The pebbling is gone, and now we have actually a lot more aggressive. I don't know if you call that dimpling or some kind of polygonal texture here. The front and back straps are all the same as the side, as you can see. The Generation 4s also have a multiple back strap, so the frame here is actually a little bit thinner than the Gen 3 to accommodate the extra back straps that can be added. Another big change was the ambidextrous magazine release. Now, unlike an FNP 45 Tactical, where the controls are ambidextrous already, this one you have to go inside with a Glock armorer's tool, change it out, and reverse it. But it is completely reversible if you are a left-handed shooter. It all just like the Gen 3, it has the integrated rail for lights and lasers and all that fun stuff. The extractor is also the loaded chamber indicator type found in the Gen 3. So here you go, Gen 4 Glock 17. Alright, so this brings me to the kind of the black sheep of the family, which is a Glock that they only produce for a short period of time, the Glock 22 RTF2. Obviously the biggest visual difference between this and the other Glocks is the fish gill shaped cocking serrations here at the back of the slide, and the texture, which is a little bit more small polygonal, which is very it kind of feels like a gritty sandpaper. At first, when I held this, I didn't like it at all. I thought it was just too aggressive. But after taking it to the range, I really appreciate the texture and kind of wish that Glock would have gone more in this direction than they did with the Gen 4. This is actually a very nice shooting Glock, being a Glock 22. Of course, it is chambered in the 40 caliber Smith & Wesson cartridge instead of the 9mm. But besides that, everything else is pretty much much the same. I just really like the way that this gun looks. I know it's gotten a lot of negative reviews online, especially because of the cocking serrations, but I actually think it's kind of a very futuristic looking pistol, which is kind of Glock's reputation. You know, when it entered the market in 1986 here in the United States, people were unsure of buying a plastic gun. Well, they've always been forward-thinking, and I kind of thought that this, from a visual standpoint, represented that philosophy very, very well. So the Glock 22 RTF2, I think it's a very beautiful, beautiful gun. So now that brings me to the biggest pistol Glock makes, the Glock 21. Now, as you can see here, this is a Glock 21C, which means that it has the ported barrel. And for those of you that don't know, the ported barrel allows some of the vented gas from the bullet to be vented upwards, reducing recoil. And I've heard some people say 25% or 30% or 35%. I find that in a 45 caliber handgun, this is quite advantageous. I know the compensated models aren't for everybody. I think it's kind of a neat thing. The only thing on this pistol that I've modified is I have added a extended slide stop. As you can see, that's not the one that came from the factory, but everything else on this pistol is stock. The Glock 21C. This is a Gen 3 frame, as I mentioned, in 45 ACP. One of the coolest ads I ever saw for this gun was this gun was laying next to a Colt 45 1911, and it says, "This isn't your granddad's 45," which I absolutely love the 1911, as you'll come to find out. But I thought that was a pretty cool advertisement for it. So the Glock 21. There you go. Now moving on here, my newest addition to my collection, Model 24. Now that is one long slide. This is a non-standard production Glock. It's not even on their website, but from what I understand, they make it from time to time. It is chambered in 40 caliber and has a 6-inch barrel, and this is designed for competition shooting. I've recently ordered a ported barrel because the slide already has the opening for the ports, but I've ordered a stock Glock 24C barrel to add to this. Everything else here is pretty much the same as the Glock 22. It's a full-size frame, Gen 3 style texturing. It just has the really long slide. I can't wait to get this one to the range, and hopefully I'll post a video of how it shoots. And finally, last but not least, the baby Glock, the Glock 26. This is the smallest Glock that they make, chambered in 9mm. The one thing I do like about this firearm is the fact that in the front of the slide it is rounded a little bit. You don't see that on any of the other Glocks, the full-size and compact models. I think it adds kind of a nice aesthetic to the front of the gun, and I'm not really sure why Glock doesn't add that to their other pistols in their lineup. This is kind of a special Glock for me because this is the gun that I trust my life with. As a concealed carry permit holder here in Texas, if you meet me on the street, this is the gun that I carry every place I can legally. So I train with it a lot. I shoot it a lot. I don't think I've ever had a malfunction. It is an incredibly accurate firearm, and if you've seen any of Hickok 45's videos, you know he can use this pistol and hit a gong at 230 yards. So pretty much this thing is very, very, very accurate in the hands of a trained shooter, and I enjoy shooting it a lot. It's a great fun gun, easy to conceal, and as I mentioned, this is the most important gun in my collection, so because it is the one that I trust my life with. So there you go, the Glock 26. Alright, so there you go, my collection of Glocks. Gen 1 17, Gen 2 17, Gen 3, Gen 4, 22 RTF2, 21C, 24, and 26. So there you go. Look forward to my future videos. I'll get out some of my Colts and talk about them a little bit more. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you subscribe. And feel free to contact me with any questions or if there's anything you'd like to see. Especially close up like the Gen 1, if there's anything you'd like to check out. Alright, I'll see you next time.